I started my career in 2020 during COVID. So like I've only seen people talk negatively about this industry. I've never seen someone talk positively about it, which is a little disheartening, especially as a young artist. I think it's something like 15% of the industry is working. That means 85% of the industry is unemployed. Obviously, the strikes are good. You know, we want people getting what they need. There have just been a lot of changes within Hollywood that have made it really difficult to work. It's just been sad to see how much Hollywood has been suffering from COVID, from strikes, from streaming, just from it all.
Yeah.
I think about AI in Hollywood all the time. I think it's potentially a very dangerous area. If AI enables us to work at our highest level and be the most creative and cool people we can be, then I don't really have an issue with it. But it's when it starts to like take away from the creative jobs, and I don't think that's. We want AI to do things like the dishes so that we have time to do our creative pursuits. We don't want AI to do our creative pursuits so that we're stuck doing the dishes.
We are going to see change in entertainment industry, the new jobs coming in, the way social media managers and things that happen, and that got a new industry, I guess. We are going to see this kind of things by 2035, and I'm excited what happens to us. So
I have so much empathy for other struggling artists, cast and crew. It's just a really tough time in Hollywood.
With the version of AI that we have of you, and we'll pay you on that. And you can continue the shoot elsewhere and do the part elsewhere. Will you agree on that part, on that particular moment where your life is really busy? She is from New York City, and she is someone who has very different background. For your information, okay, she was a tech expert who worked with a lot of big companies. That's the one thing I'd like to share. And then she got into acting. So this part really surprises me. Someone from tech background is now into acting. The surprise is not about she being a tech expert. It's like the world is completely different. You see the world in very different point of view as a tech expert. You kind of, and then there is creative side to it. So her name is Dara Woo. She's from New York City. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
So what's going on with you?
Yeah. Oh gosh. It's been an exciting time. I'm currently on Broadway in The Picture of Dorian Gray, starring
Yeah.
Sarah Snook from Succession. The Tonys are happening very soon. It's a very exciting time.
Oh, okay. So coming on this play, the Broadway show, it's your debut, right?
It is my debut. Yes.
Okay, so how did that happen? How did that get? Because you've been working on films that I know. You've been like Blue Bloods on CBS that I saw. Tell me about how this happened, the Blue Bloods, the Broadway.
Yes. Oh wow. So Dorian Gray has been such a whirlwind. I basically got the audition many months ago, and it was the in-person audition. It's actually one of my I don't do that many in-person auditions, and I don't do many theater auditions. But I went because it was a block away from my tech office. At the time, I was a software engineer at Lyft. Yeah, and I was like, sure, I can quickly go to this audition during my lunch break. Spent the morning coding, went to the audition really quick because it was 50 steps away, and then went back to my office. Didn't think anything of it. And then 5 auditions later, I ended up booking the part and then starting in early February.
Wow. So one thing I came across talking to Broadway actresses is it is like 5 times, 10 times. You're saying the same thing. You're doing the same thing. It's really hectic process. How did you deal with that? What was it with you when the audition phase was going on?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, I was so like I couldn't imagine that I would book a Broadway show. So I kind of went in like
Yeah.
whatever, like putting my best foot forward, but it wasn't something like I was holding near and dear and very precious to me because I was like, this is such a dream come true. Like I can't even dare to dream this big. I basically got the first call back and I was like, oh my gosh, did I just get a call back for Broadway? I was freaking out. The role that I do is I play an onstage camera operator. So I'm an actor who
Mhm.
plays someone who operates a camera. And so I was like, well, I want to show them that I can operate a camera. So I rented out my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym and then I hired a professional camera operator. He taught me how to operate a camera. I filmed myself and then I sent that into casting to prove to them that I was excited for the part. I could physically handle the demands of the part. I was excited to learn the technology, willing to learn. And I think maybe that was, something that was good about my audition. But yeah, I would say after the first callback, I was so stunned. I was not even allowing myself to think so bigly.
You got started as a tech expert and the journey to acting. Like, Lyft is a very big company, and the company that we mentioned in your bio are really big. So to get into that, it's like very different thing, just to being a part of those companies. It's like it's like separate motivation that you need to be something like that. Okay, and then you're changing that, and then hey, I want to be an actor. I want to be in Hollywood. I want to be in movies. And talking about your career at 13, I guess you were a champion in Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian. What? Yeah, yeah. I saw those pictures, and you are like really fighting. What we can say is like you, you are expert in stunts. You have won a lot of first prizes, all of them. Like it's first prize for everything that you fought for.
Mhm.
How did this journey happen? Because you getting into acting, suddenly you realized what was the call?
I think for me, in my life, I've sort of have had three major phases. So I had my, as you so aptly mentioned, I had my martial arts phase where I did a lot of judo and
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu. I had my tech phase, and then now I'm in my acting phase. And each phase is something I feel very strongly about. Unfortunately, I'm the type of person who has very strong opinions and has certain things that they really do and don't like to do. So when I want to do
Okay.
something, I go all in, and I don't stop until I feel like I've done what I've needed to do. And I would say they're all three really big aspects and areas of myself that I still continue to this day. So it's not like I did jujitsu back then and then I don't do it anymore. I actually still you know, fight and train, just not as like much as I used to.
Oh,
But yes, I used to do it a lot. So yeah, I think they're all just like really important aspects of my life. I think for me with tech, I'm from the Silicon Valley. My parents are executive recruiters. They're basically professional interviewers. So my entire life, I've been sort of born and bred to work into tech and to be honestly successful within tech.
oh,
Um,
okay. That is a good idea.
yeah. So I didn't. My high school's in Cupertino, California. It's literally next to the original Apple campus. So like dreaming of something bigger than tech or outside of tech was just like it was not something that had even dawned on me because it was such like a crazy thought. So I think when I went to
Sure.
college and I was like, you can do anything you want with your life, and you can work so hard and you can achieve someone else's dream. Is when I realized to myself, like, I got to start pursuing what is my own dream. I still think of myself as a technologist. I still want to work in tech. I think I just really wanted the creative outlet, and I've always wanted to be an actor. So that's sort of how I got started.
Wow, wow. And in this story, I got interested about your parents. Uh, that story is really interesting. Chinese and Japanese. It's a combination that I was looking to know how that happened. And then being in Silicon Valley, and then okay. So tell me about how your parents, like, what's the story of your parents?
Yes. So my parents are, so I'm third or even fourth generation American. So
Fourth
my
generation, as per you mentioned.
yeah. So my grandparents were born in the States. Three of my four grandparents were born in the States.
Okay.
Which I honestly feel like as an actor is not a great thing because I can't speak Chinese or Japanese. So
Oh,
it's kind of that's kind of like bad for
makes
my
sense.
career, but also bad culturally. But yeah, let's see. So my parents both are from California. They both grew up really poor. They went to UC Davis and they both majored in mechanical engineering, and then that's how they met.
So,
And after they was I actually really love this story. My dad is an entrepreneur. So he started after becoming an engineer, he went into sales, which is something I see myself doing, having an engineering background and then going into something more people customer
yeah,
facing. And then he
yeah.
started his own company. And I think because of that, he really instilled like a value of like working for yourself and like rags to riches and
Right, right.
being brave in your career. My parents both are like even though they grew up very poor, they're not risk averse. Like my dad has had periods of his career, both my parents where they didn't make a lot of money and then they made a lot of money or more money, not a lot,
Right.
but just more money.
Yeah.
So I think like I never saw my parents working like a 9 to 5. They were always working for themselves. They were always just doing something that they loved. My parents both love their job. So I think for me, it was just sort of natural. Like I was very fortunate in that because I think I'm multiple generations American and because my parents are already very brave and entrepreneurial, I've had a lot of support from the get-go, of just like
God.
doing what I doing what I feel very strongly about. So I've been very fortunate to have their support.
God, God. And it's good to know. Like I see. It's your father's resemblance. When you took such calls, when you took such brave calls. with decision making. What I'm saying is, I guess it comes from it comes from that background. You need such kind of things happening around you, so you are really cool with whatever you're doing in life, and you know what you're doing, so that there's more clarity to your decisions, I guess. Okay, so nowadays it's more about they send you a script and then it's self-tape. Okay, that's the whole thing from COVID. I guess it's got hyped up. Uh, how do you prep for something like that? Because somewhere around we're not ready, or we are not in the mindset, or maybe if it is in front of camera, sometimes it is completely opposite for a lot of actresses. Like no one is watching and no one is there. I'm holding a camera. What the hell is going on? How can I, control my mind and be there in the moment? Because it's just my mobile phone and I have to be there. So what goes, how do you go with that? What's your mindset on
Oh gosh, that's a great question. You know, it's really hard for me. Um, I guess I'm sort of like conflicted over which I prefer. I will say my Broadway auditions were all in person. And I wonder if I
that?
booked the role because it was in person, and there's just like an energy you can feel with somebody in the room when you see them in person.
Oh,
So I think like being in person helps me a lot for Broadway. It's hard to stand out virtually. You're seeing so many more people. It's just, I think like the in-person energy and like the excitement I brought to the role was really seen in person. Also, sometimes I watch myself tapes back and I'm like, oh, I seem kind of serious or like not like
good.
like
Yeah.
exactly. Like I'm just like a more serious version of myself. And I think it's because I'm an extrovert. So I really gain a lot of energy from other people in the
Mhm.
room. So and it's hard, like it's just it's hard to act super excited about something when I'm just looking at my camera screen, versus like if there's somebody who I'm like can bounce reactions off of and like get their energy and feel their emotions. I just feel like my acting is so much better in person. And then I also feel like there's just like an energy to anybody in person. That being said, though, I do like self tapes because I can audition for like I can audition for roles outside of New York. I can also like I think you get more auditions, so maybe you're seen by more people. Perhaps you can
Yeah.
get a bigger range of like parts you can audition for because maybe virtually, my persona is different than I am in person, so I can get different types of auditions, help me expand my acting range. So I think for me, like a good balance is probably what I would prefer. I think it would be good if I started doing more in-person auditions. But I'm not mad at self tapes. Like I think that's also been very helpful, especially because for me, in terms of like my background of like learning how to act, I didn't start with theater. I've always started with TV and film. So because of that, with self tapes, I can watch myself and almost like critique myself. Versus like if you're in person, you're not watching things like you don't have a sense. So for instance, like I was watching a lot of my self tapes and I was noticing like it was just the floating head, right? There was no like gesticulations, there was no hand movements. Um, which are very important. Like if I itch my face, that is something someone would do in real life. So I think like it has been good for my acting to
Mhm.
self-tape myself and then watch them back. I think that has been helpful.
It's good for the extroverts to be in a room filled with casting people, and for introverts it's good for them just to be in the room where no one is watching them. And yeah, I guess it fixed that format there. But yeah, I guess something like when you see someone in yourself in camera and you say, hey, I guess the movements are not there, and I guess that's good for you to correct yourself and then go for the next day. All right, talking about the self tapes and talking about you audition, one part I came across that your auditions are going viral on TikToks. Okay, that's one I came across.
Mhm.
So tell me one thing here. Does this virality actual cause uh, someone to cast you, or do these kind of things actually influence the casting directors or the people who are making these decisions? Such kind of viralities and reaching to people via social media and your audition. So does this make any change? Have you seen it or observed and elsewhere?
Wow. I really appreciate you asking that question. This is something I feel very strongly about. So, I guess just for a little bit of background, I had been doing acting classes for many, many years, and I was auditioning and I had an agent, but none of my friends knew I was an actor because all my friends think of me as someone in tech. And it was a dream that I felt so passionately about. Like, I didn't want to say it out loud because I wanted to keep it close to myself. So, I was thinking to myself, how are big directors going to know I'm an actor if my best friends don't even know I'm an actor or if they've never seen me act? So my thought was, well, I have to put myself on TikTok just to change people's ideas about myself, even if they're just the closest people around me. And also I wanted to get comfortable with like people seeing me act, and like that's acting is basically giving a speech in front of 50 people, but you're crying and you're being vulnerable. Like it's a very exposing you know, a thing to do. So I wanted to get comfortable in front of acting in front of people. I wanted people to know I was an actor, and I wanted to just put myself out there. So that's why I started posting. Um, I thought I was going to get, admittedly, I thought I was going to get, so when my first clips went viral, I thought I was going to get like like more, I guess, attraction. But I actually ended up just getting a lot of like fan support, which was just like really nice. I'd never had that before. A lot of
Okay,
nice comments.
got it.
So what I did was I took those videos, I sent them to managers, and then that's how I found my manager, Entertainment Lab, who you've been communicating with. And
Yeah,
they have totally changed my career. Like I with them, I booked Broadway. So I had to be active about it, right? It's not like I just posted them and like waited for somebody to find me. I posted them, they went viral, and then I continued to send myself out to like more agents and managers. Um,
got it.
then I thought like maybe like, oh, like maybe like casting directors would find me, and like not a lot honestly did reach out to me, but I will say recently I had a really big audition with a huge casting director, and they found me from TikTok. So I think that's to say like it might not
Yeah.
happen immediately, but like it'll happen.
Mhm.
You just have to have faith that like if you put yourself out there, um like good things will come around. And so that
Got
to me was a really important lesson because it's been like a year, since my last like viral TikTok, and I was like so excited when they reached out to me. um, yeah. So
got
yeah, I think my advice to young actors would be put yourself out there, and you got to keep like you can't just stop at the post, right? You have to keep. I sent
yeah.
my email to my manager. I was sending it to agents. I was sending it to casting directors. Like you have to keep being active in your career.
Got it, got it, got it. So what I get from you is you're saying that it's not that influential because there is a lot of factors adding to the casting decisions, but it is opening doors for you. It's putting in front of the decision makers. So it's that for you. Like it's people who are making the decisions are seeing you, and then they are making a call. Hey, just see. Let's see how this goes, or let's see how she
Yeah,
is, or that's how you got the agent, Sean.
exactly.
So that's yeah from End Lab, and I guess that's exciting, and that is making a mark. So in future also, you can see these kind of changes happening. So you can go and put more on Instagram or TikTok, and you can try that out. All right, all right. This is just a thing. Imagine there is a superpower listening to you. Okay, there's no judgments, no thinking twice. Okay, should I say this? Should I say not? Imagine this is superpower listening to you for the next 2 3 minutes. Okay, what kind of dream are you developing inside your head now related to Hollywood, related to you being an action star or becoming part of an action film? What's going on with that?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I think about this a lot. So I would love to star in an action film, especially because of my martial arts background. I think that is one of my biggest dreams. I would be worried a little bit about like, you know, it's always tricky when you're doing like you're as an Asian person. If I were to do a martial arts movie, like, is that good or bad for Asian American representation in Hollywood? I don't know.
Mhm.
So it would be something I would just be a little bit curious about, and I would think twice about. But yeah, I think like for me, my biggest dream would be, obviously I want to be doing really influential, strong female characters. That's who I love to portray. Females who are a little bit
Got
like messy, who are
it.
not afraid to speak their mind. I love
Got
working with that type of female. It just feels close to me, but also in like a more brave way. Because in my head I'm a certain way, but I think in real life maybe I'm
it.
not. So yeah,
Okay.
I think like a character that helps me feel brave, and like I just love working with strong female characters. So obviously that would
Got
be
it.
my dream. Like top dream is like getting to work with amazing characters and doing awesome TV and film or theater. I don't really care what the medium
Got it.
is. But on the
Okay. Got it.
side, I also really see myself as an entrepreneur. So starting a company. So similar to Shay Mitchell starting Bay's Luggage, or like Jessica Alba starting, I think it was like The Honest Company. Like I really do see
Mhm.
myself starting some sort of company in the future, tech or not. I guess is sort of still up for debate, but I think of myself as an entrepreneur. Like, yes, I'm an actor, yes, I'm a technologist, but in my head, I'm an entrepreneur.
Got it.
So I like just like getting to do all the things I love. Life is long. You don't have to just be one thing. You
Yeah.
can be many things. At least that's what I tell myself.
Yeah.
So like that would be my ideal goal. Actor
Got it.
with like
Got it.
entrepreneurial spirit.
So was there something that was really new for you or you learned as an actor and that you kept in your process?
Totally, totally. This experience has been so eye-opening. I feel like I've learned so much. I think the biggest thing I've learned though is just like the sheer volume of it. So, majority of the jobs I've done in the past have been single day shoots. I have done over 300 single day shoots. I've also done many week-long shoots, but I've never done anything. I've even done like a few weeks, but I've never done anything that was 110 performances. This has been a massive undertaking. 4 months. We have 8 shows a week. I think like the stamina that is required to be that to deliver an amazing performance 8 times a week has been really uh interesting for me to learn about. Honestly, it's been pretty humbling. Like, I watched
Yeah.
Sarah and I'm just like she is a powerhouse. I don't know how she does it. It's insane how much energy is put into every show, and the entire cast and crew does it 8 times a week. And I think just like, it's been so interesting for me to just like get a gauge on what that looks like to perform at the
Got it.
highest level multiple times a week. And then also just like, uh, oh gosh, yeah, I think that's mostly been the biggest thing, which is like, holy cow, this is tiring.
Coming into Hollywood now, and you can see the AI is rising. So one part of you must be very interesting. God, this is happening as an tech expert, okay? And somewhere around, as an artist, I'd like to know what you are thinking as an artist. What is your opinion on AI coming in Hollywood? How can it be useful? Do you think it is harmful? Where do you draw the line? What do you think, having a background in tech, how actors should think on this part?
Yes. I think about AI in Hollywood all the time. Um, I think it's potentially a very dangerous area, especially when you think about Facebook is a platform used by, I don't know, 8 billion people around the world, and it was created by 10 dudes, 10 30-year-old dudes in their basement in Palo Alto. So think about just like the repercussions, the unintended repercussions of that when Facebook is created by such a small, singular type of person, single group, and it's used across many different every country. There's just like I think there needs to be there almost needs to be like an anthropologist or like an ethical, like AI ethical person to just like make sure that we're not going in certain bad areas. So like for instance with like ChatGPT, like I don't know how diverse that team is. It could be even diverse with different types of people, but maybe it's not that diverse with different types of like streams of thought. Like I don't know if there's any actors,
Got
or I don't know if there's any like entertainment actors, artists that work on AI. I don't think there's many. So they don't have people advocating for them in these spaces where like AI is being created. I think potentially it could be very exciting to have AI in like certain spots, like for self tapes, maybe like a reader that could be helpful for AI. There's other things like, you know, I think a really good example is like we want AI to do things like the dishes so that we have time to do our creative pursuits. We don't want AI to do our creative pursuits so that we're stuck doing the dishes. And I think that's a
yeah.
line that we really have to balance. It's like if AI enables us to work at our highest level and be the most creative and cool people we can be, then I don't really have an issue with it. But it's when it starts to like take away from the creative jobs and it forces us to work as like I don't know, but like in a field where it's like taking away the creative uh power, taking away jobs from creatives, I don't think that's a good idea at all. How can you deliver stories about people and use AI? Like I think like even if the results are the same, it's just going to feel different.
Yeah.
So for me, I think we definitely need a lot more naysayers in the AI space to help guide us into, a future that's not going to be terrible and dangerous. And then also
Got
think about like, the futures of like Hollywood and like the impacts on like entertainment. Um,
got
it's a little exciting. I'm also just a little bit worried because I know how much people like to make money. And
Yeah.
I can see it getting into a spot where it's like people are just thinking about the money and they're not thinking about like the ethical repercussions.
Got it, got it. And one thing in here I can say is I'm just excited for 2030. Let's see what happens then, in next 5 years, because it's already got us. It's already there. Whatever you said, uh, everything has it surpassed whatever you have said. It's really because it has just disturbed the whole artistic field at max. Okay.
Mhm.
So it's at the end of the day, what we can say, it's on the audience. It's not on artists. It's on the audience. What do they choose?
Yes.
Because if they choose humans, for example, what I'm saying is, then there will be no fault in AI and all these things because they're choosing to watch humans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if it's all on the audience now, because are they choosing artists or are they choosing AI? It's basically on the audience and not on the creators, because they are the decision makers. So I guess audience are going to make a big call, because once they make a big call, then producers take call on that particular call. Like, what are the audience saying? And depending and based on that, the whole distribution market will work.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the whole discussion in next 5 years. Let's see where it goes and how it unfolds. I really loved your opinion. There's been huge strikes, and I've been talking with a lot of actors from LA, from New York, on the strikes and what happened after that. Important, because I'm talking to a lot of directors who've been doing Netflix films and Amazon and Hulu, and they said like, hey, we just got on track after 2 years. And we just started working. There was a cycle and got disturbed, and now we're just back on track. Actors are saying certain things. I'd like to know, what do you think happened now once there was change in the contracts and there's temporary settlement, I guess, but it's working now. So once the strikes got over, what do you think? What kind of changes happened in benefit of actors?
Gotcha. Contractually, there have been improvements. I will just say though, I think it's something like 15% of the industry is working. That means 85% of the industry is unemployed. Obviously, the strikes are good. We want people getting what they need. And obviously, like, people who strike, like, they need support. I mean, that was like awesome. The strikes are. I'm not saying strikes are bad. I think it was just more like there have just been a lot of changes within Hollywood that have made it really difficult to work. And so, yeah, I guess I guess my biggest thing though is just like it's just been sad to see how much Hollywood has been suffering from COVID, from strikes, from streaming, just from it all.
Yeah,
And I think like I started my career in 2020 during COVID, so like I've only seen people talk negatively about this industry. I've never seen someone talk positively about it, which is a little disheartening, especially as a young artist. So it's tough, I would say. And even for me as a working actor, I have so much empathy for other struggling artists, you know, cast and crew. Um, it's a really tough time in Hollywood.
when I was looking up to Hollywood, and the big productions, big studios happening, and just Google the name Hollywood, okay, and just read the quotes. Whatever you just said, all the quotes were like blaming Hollywood. It's like the worst thing. I was like, what did I just read? It was that. It was completely disheartening. And someone who's just looking up to the industry, when you see such kind of things, it's like, oh my god, it's more worse than what we
Totally. And it's interesting for me, especially because I work on both sides. So I'm like I work in tech. All my friends are working in AI. I see how excited they are. And then I also have other
have.
friends and myself who are actors, and I see how scared and and also just like how much we are affected by this. So it's interesting to see like two sides of the coin, same coin, because it's like, yeah, I'm telling you, like, I don't AI startups are not thinking about like the impact on actors. I will tell you that right now.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, crazy, crazy
It's
time.
the
Hollywood has been tough.
yeah. And it's exciting because now we are going to see some big changes happening in the behavior pattern of human beings in coming years, because we are going to see change in entertainment industry, the new jobs coming in, the way social media managers and things that happened and that got a new industry. I guess we are going to see this kind of things by 2035, and I'm excited what happens to us. So it is going to be a hell of a time for us. So okay, uh, fire. Okay, it's not a rapid fire, it's this or that. Okay, basically, I've just shifted it to make it more fun. I don't know if it is, but let's see. Okay, so coding at midnight or racing past curtain call.
Coding at midnight or
Racing a past curtain call or audition.
oh, I love coding at midnight. I'm my best coder at midnight. The reason I did so well at Lyft was because I would code like for a few hours in the night, in the afternoon, but I would do like majority of my coding at like 2 a.m. I'm a night owl, and I feel the creative juices at like the later the better.
Oh,
Versus rehearsing, oh.
oh wow, that's cool to know. Broadway energy or Netflix style storytelling.
I don't know. I don't. I would just be honored to be in either space, but I'm gonna get into film next.
Just saying that, not risking any of the side.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, guy. Martial arts discipline or actor's instinct.
Martial arts.
I saw you beating people.
Yep.
Silicon Valley hustle or NYC creative chaos. Showers. What is
New York City. New York City chaos.
cool? Action-packed heroine or deeply layered drama lead.
Oh gosh.
This or that.
This
Going
or
to
that.
each
Oh
of these
gosh.
expressions.
I actually could see myself liking both a lot. I might choose the latter one just because I feel like that would be like that would be a challenge for me. And I think I would want to bite into that.
The drama one.
Yeah, drama.
God.
Yeah.
AI as a tool or AI as a threat.
My goodness. Um, if we're not talking in the Hollywood space, AI is a tool. I use ChatGPT all the time.
Hollywood is also using it as a tool.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
I think
Yeah.
use it as a tool and not as like a replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a tool.
Got it. Fighting for a role or building your own. I mean, these are two different things. Okay,
That's
two completely different things.
You know, I wish I could build my own role.
Got it.
I wish I could do it. I'm not a writer, I'm not a director, I'm not a producer, so it would be very difficult for me. Oh God, but I am very active in my pursuits. Like I like to be active like with my dreams, but at this point in my life, fight for a role. I need more experience with like writing and directing.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Computer bug fix or character breakdown.
Bug fix. Character breakdowns can be wrong. Bug fixes, always feel good about them.
Audience applause or internal satisfaction.
Both are great. I love internal satisfaction. No one's a harder critique of yourself than you. So internal.
Got it. Deep fake concern or creative innovation.
Ooh, deep fake concern. That's a big one. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't want that.
Female-led action film or female-led startup.
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I love a female-led startup. I'm gonna go with that. Yeah.
I guess there's a lot of tech expert inside you more than actor. Okay.
No, I think like yeah, I don't know. I think there could be a lot. Yeah, I think there's more female-led, well, maybe not action movies, but there's more female-led movies than there are female-led startups. So
God, okay. I wish this got recorded in proper internet. I can see these things, but let's hope that this is getting recorded properly. Okay. Teaching coding or mentoring young actors.
teaching coding. Well, maybe I am more of a technologist.
Yeah. We should actually, this is kind of a wake-up call or some kind of session going on for you.
It's like, are you a therapist? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think this is happening.
You know why? It's just, I'll explain my answer, even though it was this or that, because I would never encourage anyone to get into Hollywood. It is a tough business. He's failing right now. It's never been harder to be an artist versus tech. It's a great time to get into tech. And I mentor so many. I do so much mentorship on the tech side of things, and they're all very successful versus acting. It's like I haven't had a single successful acting mentee. So it's just
God.
if yeah, I would say get into tech.
Oh God, what just happened? Oh God. Okay, so she's saying to everyone, don't leave your 9 to 5. She is actually saying that the past of
I know. I would be such a hypocrite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh my God, like being a full-time artist, that's me right now, and I'm like, it's just hard. You know what I mean? I'm like, don't do this voluntarily. It's like I think Amelia Clark said it. She was like, if there's anything else you want to do with your life, do it, and I would agree.
All right. If tomorrow there is a tech feature where they say we don't need you to do that particular part because you may be busy, you may be a bigger more star than you are. Okay, so then there's problem of schedules with you. Okay, and then they are saying that hey, what if we did that with the version of AI that we have of you, and we'll pay you on that, and you can continue the shoot elsewhere and do the part elsewhere. Will you agree on that part, on that particular moment where your life is really busy? things are happening with you, and they need to do this because the schedule is on time, and these are some things that doesn't concern your presence at that point, that you have to be there and do that on certain situations. Will you allow that as an actor? What are you thinking when this kind of things or situation comes in front of
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, it's easy for me to say no right now. At this current point in my life, I don't do acting for the money. You know, if I was interested in the money, I would have stayed in tech. So for me, I couldn't see myself saying yes to something I so, strongly disagree with ethically. But at the time, who's to say what I'll say in a few years? But at this current moment, I think that's
you?
it's definitely not something I would agree to.
From mindset point of view, what kind of advice you'd like to give to the fellow artists who stuck in audition or trying to figure their journey out? No idea, started in a phase of COVID and trying to find their way in all.
Yeah, yeah. Well, gosh, I hope from this interview that they didn't get the vibe that they should go into acting. I think my biggest thing is just like it's tough, but if you want it, you should just go for it. Be smart about it though, right? So, for instance, I would never say to somebody, quit your 9 to 5 right now to pursue a creative pursuit, right? I think that is a recipe for disaster. Unless you have someone paying your bills, you got to think. I think for me, like, like quitting my 9 to 5 was not easy, but it was I knew I could financially support myself, and I had this, like, you know, really big acting gig that was worth me quitting for. So I would recommend to all young artists out there, like, like, it's this whole game is about hustling, right? And just because you don't spend 100% of your day acting doesn't mean you're not an actor, right? So you could spend majority of your week working a job, majority of your week emailing agents, sending self tapes. Maybe you're not on set that much. That doesn't mean you're less of an actor or an artist, right? You just have to believe it. You have to know it for yourself. And I think this sort of thing. You have to do it because you want it. And be fearless. Be bold in your pursuit, right? Screw what anyone says. If you don't book anything for 40 years, that sucks, but you just have to know in your heart that you are an amazing actor. Think about like Pedro Pascal. So yeah, I would just say to any young artist, like, make sure you can pay your bills. Definitely pursue it. Definitely pursue it. But just go about it in a smart way because you don't want to burn out by 25 because you spent the last 4 years after undergrad, not working because you thought you were going to be big, like a big hotshot. And then like you have to move back home because you have no money, right? It's a long game. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So be smart about it. What I would say.
Got got Okay, I love that energy that you got. I love the clarity that you have for yourself and the clarity that you provide to the actors and actresses. That's something that really admire. That this is something that's going to help you a lot because something like this comes from a business mindset, not a creative mindset. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And it's really good to have some clear vision about yourself. So this really helps. All right, I guess that was a good session with you. Really loved it. Really enjoyed. I'm excited. Is there anything that we should be like looking forward? Are there any projects that you can mention? Is there an NDA sign? Let me know or can talk.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would just say, thank you so much for listening and watching this. Like, this has been such an awesome conversation with you. Um, we're Dorian Gray is playing until June 29th at the Music Box Theater in New York City. So come check us out. For more updates, I say, follow me on Instagram at SilverDare and also on TikTok at SilverDare. And then my website is darawoo.com. So more updates to come.
All right, all right. Everything she said will be mentioned in the description of this particular episode. That was Dara Woo from New York City. Catch her in her latest releases. You can check it out on Instagram and her website for more. And this was an exclusive with Dara Woo. I am Ajay. I'm the host and producer of Creative, not Creative Audios, but we are now String Panther Network. And thank you for watching us. And now I'm signing off.